Welcome to the recreation of my MOBA Character series. I've made this series quite a while ago, and although the previous tutorials can still be followed, there are some people saying I was too fast on explaining things, as well as having outdated systems, code, and even small details missing from videos, which led to bugs and errors. I've taken the criticism and will try my best to make this a better formatted series. Majority of the system and code will be very similar, but I'll go through each step thoroughly to make sure nothing is left out. Now that's out of the way, let's get right into the video. For this series, I'll be using the latest version that is currently out right now, Unity 2022.2.7, although any previous version of Unity should work completely fine. This first part is optional. If you want to use your own project, you can skip ahead to this particular timestamp, but I highly recommend following along the series and understanding the code first, then implementing it into your game. Go to the link in the description where it will link you to this page on GitHub. You want to press the commits tab over here. Right now it only shows 3 commits, but for a future viewer it could show X amount depending on how many videos I've put up for the series. Each commit will pretty much be its own video in the series, but now we're just going to want to click on these 2 arrows on the updated version of the startup project. Make sure you click on this one and not the one below it, as it can get confusing with the names. On the top right, click code and you can either open it on GitHub desktop or by clicking the download zip file. For the purpose of the series, we'll download the zip file. After it's finished downloading, open the zip file and drag this folder into your desktop or wherever you want to store the project. You're going to want to double click on the folder and then click on assets, and if you want to run your own version, just right click over the main scene Unity file, open with, and then choose your Unity version. It will show a message where it asks to convert the Unity file. Just click continue and wait. If you have the Unity version 2022.2.7, you can just double click and it will load the project. You'll be presented with a scene. I'm using the free environment and modular asset packs made by Polytope Studios. I'm not sponsored or anything, but their other game assets look amazing and I suggest checking them out. A link to their asset store will be down in the description. What you'll also notice is that I've organized the camera and the rest of the scene to a MOBA/RPG perspective. I've also designed a very simple UI template which can later include abilities, XP, health, mana bar, gold, and the minimap. But I guess we'll work on these functions in the future videos. To prepare ourselves for the upcoming tutorials, we're going to want to add the necessary tags and layers in the baking of the map. What I usually do with all my playable characters is give them a tag in a layer called player. Do this by clicking on your player character and at the top right with tag. You're going to want to add a tag and call this player. It's already included in this project, so all I need to do is just click tag and then player. Now we're going to want to do the same for the layer as well. Double check that the player has these, as sometimes it doesn't apply itself automatically. If it doesn't, you'd have to apply it yourself manually. We're then going to do the same for the map. Click on the terrain object in the hierarchy. We'll apply the same principle as we add by clicking add tag and add layer. When we add the ground layer to the object, this option will pop up. We'll click yes, change the children, and what this does is that everything that's a child of this terrain object, all their layers would be changed to ground as well. But for the tag, you need to do it manually and add it to the ground and bridge object. Now that's out of the way, we need to bake our map. What baking does is that it allows us to detect what object is walkable for the player. Go to the Windows tab at the top and go to the bottom and you'll see AI. Hover over it and we're going to want to choose Navigation Obsolete. I usually keep this tab right next to the inspector, so all you got to do is drag it to the very right, just so it's not floating. Then, by holding Ctrl on your keyboard and selecting both the ground and bridge object, you want to make sure that the static box is ticked at the top right of the inspector. Go into the Navigation tab, go to Objects and make sure that the Navigation Static is ticked and the Walkable tab is showing in both objects. Then, head to the Bake and simply press Bake. After a couple of seconds, your scene should appear blue, meaning that these are the places that the player is able to walk on. If you don't want to see it, you can simply toggle it by clicking Show Nav Mesh right over here. The last thing we'll need for now is Cinemachine. Previously, I used code to have the camera follow the player. This will make things a lot easier and more customizable to suit your needs. Go back to the Window tab and press Package Manager. You can drag this tab right next to the scene just so it's not out there. There's a drop down menu next to the plus button and you'd want to select Packages, Unity Registry. It will then load a bunch of features and packages you can download, but all we need for now is Cinemachine, so scroll all the way down and find it. On the top right of the window, click install and wait for it to do its magic. Once that's done, you now have Cinemachine installed. To make sure you have it installed, right-click anywhere in your hierarchy tab, and at the bottom it should have Cinemachine and a selection of Cinemachine cameras. As a side note, you may be seeing all these yellow caution errors, which won't affect your project at all. These are just from importing the assets, so you won't really need to worry about that. In case that it bothers you and you want to hide it, press clear and make sure that the caution tab on the right is not highlighted. That pretty much concludes the first episode of making a MOBA character series in 2023. I will definitely expand on this project in the future, adding minions, shop systems, turrets, and a lot more MOBA features. All the features in this series will be single player perspective, and I don't plan on making it multiplayer since I'm still trying to learn it myself. Anyways, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!